What's going on, Washington fans? Welcome to Taking Command with Josh Taylor. And I am said host. I am him, Josh Taylor. And joining me, that is George Carmi, and we are Taking Command. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the channel. While you're here, hit that subscribe button. As all of you know, I'm chasing that 1,000 subscribers. And if you like what you see, hit the like button. And I know you will, because I have a very special episode for y'all. It's funny. We were just talking, George, about how we first met. Our first episode together was like a 4-hour-long live draft show, 2 years ago?
Yeah, the Chase Young draft. Exactly right.
The
Chase Young draft. It went hard. I mean, it started from the bottom right there. It was good, man. It was a good time.
Literally
a good 4-hour live draft.
I forgot who it was, but I called somebody getting drafted. Oh, yeah, Damon Arnett. I said he would get drafted higher.
I think you were Antonio Gibson guy too, weren't you?
Yep, I called that one too. Good. That's where it all started. Like literally just drinking beer. I think I was eating like old Chipotle at the time. Like just vibing for 4 hours.
I was just sitting on the couch, just talking football, man. It was awesome. It was great.
And now look at us. George is one of my favorite content guys, whether it's writing, putting out podcasts. And I told him, like, he's new to the game with the podcast with Full Press Commanders, which they're killing it, by the way. Give them a follow. But George is such a natural, so highly recommend that you go over, check out his content because he's killing it. But in this episode, we're going to talk about the season coming up and specifically some must-see TV player matchups for us this season. And I know, my guy Nick Saban over here, he calls it rat poison, the media putting out fake stuff, which they do often, as we can tell just from OTAs. But they say we have an easy schedule this year, George. You buying that?
I don't know. We were talking about it, right? I think the first couple games, I think they're setting the Commanders up for success with the Jaguars game 1, the Lions game 2. Like statistically, those are the two worst teams in the NFL last year. But as you start looking at like weeks 3 through 10, it gets really interesting, right? We start playing the Eagles and the Cowboys. We have the Kirk Cousins revenge game coming into FedEx. We have Aaron Rodgers coming into. We have a lot of really interesting games. We also play the Titans, who are the AFC number 1 seed altogether. So it's not a pushover game season by any means. It's actually really interesting and a lot of intrigue. I'm looking forward to talking about it today.
Absolutely. Like you said, there's some really good matchups, some emotion games, some revenge games. And I'm going to harp on some of those. But first off, you mentioned week 1 and week 2. Our guy, Sam Cosmi, who, shout out to Nate Coleman, brought this little spotlight. Another great follow in Washington. Sam Cosmi was killing it besides those injuries. So first matchup of the season here, Sam Cosmi versus the top 2 draft picks this season with Trevon Walker and the Jaguars week 1, and then Aiden Hutchinson in the Lions week 2. I mean, you can call it cupcake schedule, easy teams. I'm not at all. Anytime you have to face the top 2 overall draft picks like that, I can't remember a time that's ever happened before. Like maybe a quarterback and another guy, but 2 edge rushers and at the same position coming at Sam Cosmi. What was your thoughts on Cosmi in his last season? Like I said, he had the ankle injury, the hip bothered him. He was on and off, the field. But from what you saw, what was your thoughts on Cosmi?
I like the Cosmi pick altogether. I thought, just that was a good value pick for Washington at the second round. I think he's more of an ideal fit at the right tackle position because he's kind of that bruiser, that like mauler, that run blocking tackle. So I think it was a good fit for us there. I am happy with him. I wish he had the full season. I believe he only played 9 games. So, that's 17 extra 8 games. Just would have given him so much more experience and would have helped him out a lot more. But I think it's a good pick. I think he's going to be a cornerstone guy for a couple of years. I think we have a great offensive line coach with Matsko, and I think he's going to continue to develop. And I think Washington, it's funny, Washington used to invest really heavily into the high picks into the offensive line, but it seems we kind of a hodgepodge is kind of putting it together right now. I think Washington was a 6 overall PFF offensive line and pass blocking last year, so they're pretty solid. And I think Cosmi's going to kind of, do his part this year. But I don't like that Trevon Walker matchup in week 1, man. I'm feeling a little something right there. I don't know how you feel. We'll see how it shakes out.
Yeah, like I said, Nate Coleman, another great follow at Commander Stats on Washington Twitter content community here. He pointed out a couple stats the same Cosmi, like you said, only limited, but still what we saw out of him was impressive. He was the 3rd best run blocking win rate among all tackles. He was also the 5th highest rookie tackle PFF grade among rookie tackles since 2017 with a 74.9. And people are like, oh, 74. Like, this isn't school. Like, I know that sucks in school, but like PFF grade wise,
a C grade, exactly. But
yeah, this is what you're looking for.
That's pretty solid. That's solid as a starter.
Exactly. And he was actually the highest graded tackle in the RAS score in the history, which is like dates back to like 1987, I believe. He was the number one tackle. He had a perfect 10 in his athletic score because the guy's just an athletic freak. And I remember the draft class last year, every single guy was in the green. Like, it was just probably the most athletic draft class Washington ever had.
Yeah, so, he did. They were really, go ahead.
I like what I saw from him. Like, I saw the speed, I saw the power. He had a good balance of both. Like you said, back-to-back weeks, that's tough. I'm not as big on Trevon Walker. I don't think he should win number 1 overall.
No, not at all.
Not at all. And I get it. Like, Georgia, they're just loaded on defense. The scheme didn't really fit what Trevon Walker was doing. But then all of a sudden, he has a great combine, and like all these analytic guys come out like, oh yeah, his numbers are great. And then he goes number 1 overall. And Aiden Hutchinson's like, what the heck? I was like a Heisman contending edge rushing guy who was
consensus All-American, Big Ten, all first team, 14 sacks last year. I mean, I thought Hutchinson should have definitely gone number 1 overall, but we'll figure that out later. I have no idea, but we'll see.
I agree. And then, like I said, the Jaguars with Josh, who is it? Josh Allen, the other
Josh Allen,
So I mean, no slouches. Devin Lloyd, they're drafting
Devin
good.
Lloyd, Chad Muma, they stacked up pretty solid, dude. The Jaguars, Jaguars are not a pushover team. They're not the same team that we saw on paper last year, so it is going to be pretty interesting. And Trevon Walker isn't a slouch, man. That guy, what is he? 6'5", 270, ran a 4.5 40. Like his RAS score was 9.91 himself, so it's going to be a pretty competitive matchup. It's going to be pretty awesome. So we'll see.
There's a lot of athleticism on the field when they go, but I think it's a good test for Cosmi. Like I said, we as Washington fans felt really good about what we saw. But it's like, hey, you're back. Let's see what that year 2 looks like, after the injuries and so on. So I think it's a great test going 1 and 2 for him. Now, this one we're used to, and I think this is where fans are going to be chirping back and forth on a little bit. And that is Trevon Diggs versus Terry McLaurin. You can't have a player matchup for Washington without including these two guys. Now, of course, I'll say 2 years ago, Terry won the matchup. We had the Rocky the baby on Trevon Diggs.
Yeah.
But last year, it was a different story. And I'm not taking any sides on this one, but Terry had 3 catches for 40 yards total in 2 games. And I know he was banged up. He was hurt in that the second game, I think it was with the Cowboys, where he's going up, getting passes that Taylor Heineke is just punting up there. He's doing all he can. So, yes, I love that. The quarterback play limited what Terry did last year.
I agree.
I think everyone that's not like diehard Heineke fans can agree with that. I mean, watch the Atlanta game. It shows.
Well, Josh, let me throw something out there. Are we going to declare a winner for every matchup? Like, or are we going to kind of talk it out? Like, should we say that Walker? Okay, I was going to say, because I think Walker is going to have the edge in the Sam Cosmi competition there. So I don't know how you feel about that. How do you think? Do you think Cosmi or Walker's going to win that?
I think Cosmi looks good against Walker, and I think Aiden Hutchinson looks decent against Cosmi. I still think Cosmi's a beast.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be a homer. I'm going to be honest. If it was like Bosa or someone like that, I'm like, ooh.
Yeah.
Cosmi, like it's still early in the game. But Aiden Hutchinson had that one really good final year. Like before that, it was kind of like, okay, whatever. And then he just popped on. David Ajabo helped him out a lot. So I'm interested to see what kind of help he gets. There's a couple of his moves that are kind of limited. Kind of reminds me of Chase Young. Hate to say it. In certain things. But I think Cosmi wins both of those. Like, I feel good about that.
Okay.
And I feel good about this one. I think Terry, especially when you start looking at adding Jahan Dotson, a healthy Curtis Samuel. We know Diggs gets interceptions. We know it's there. Like, he killed it, but he gives up a lot of yards. So
he does.
Do you consider it winning if you give up a lot of yards, but you don't let the wide receiver score? Or how do you kind of settle it?
I think if there's a lot of receptions and a lot of if you're constantly losing, right? So if there's like 9 targets and you give up 6 catches or something like that, you're losing the matchup there. You should basically have less than 50% receptions going against you, in my opinion. That's what I view as success, right? Like, obviously yardage comes into play too. I did look at that matchup going into this episode, and that was crazy. I believe Terry got shut out one game. I think he had 3 targets for 0 catches in the first game against the Cowboys, and it was 4 and 40 the second game or something like that. But going back to the year before, Terry McLaurin ate him up. Terry McLaurin had 7 catches and 92 yards in one game, 6 catches, 90 yards, and a touchdown in another game. So I think this is going to be like the tiebreaker right here. And I think it's Terry McLaurin season, baby. I think with Carson Wentz coming in there, I think with that big arm, with the diversity of weapons, I think Trevon, it's going to be like the Cowboys are going to rely on Trevon Diggs covering Terry McLaurin one-on-one. And that's not going to be good for Trevon Diggs, man. I think McLaurin's going to eat him up. So it's going to be fun. I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, I think Diggs is going to take the field and be like, holy smokes, this is not Taylor Heineke anymore.
This is not
and I get it. Like, say what you want about Carson Wentz. I don't care. I think he's going to kill it. But then, like I said, like Diggs gives up yards. But for me, Terry's a guy who's going to take the yards and still score on you. I think we're going to see more of that deep threat Terry. You remember the very first game he had against Philadelphia? Taking the top off that defense against the Eagles and scoring that touchdown. I think we're going to get more of that Terry back. Same like how he scored against Diggs in 2020. Like you said, over 182 yards against the Cowboys in those 2 games and a tutty. So I think Terry's back in the win column on this one. All that
I
stuff
agree.
last year.
Give Terry the dub here, and I agree. And I think one thing to say about Trevon Diggs is he got targeted 95 times last year, the 5th most in the NFL, and he gave up 65 catches. So I believe I'm looking at the stats right here. 60% of his catches were against him. He gave them up. So he basically, you can get him. He is beatable. He'll give up those yards. He's kind of that like make feast or famine kind of corner, but give the dub to T-Mac. I'll give you that right there.
Like if I'm a Cowboys fan and he like allows like a 7-yard bomb, you're like, oh shoot, Trevon, and then he gets an interception right after that. I think interceptions erase like bad plays because you're turning. That's a possession. That's a huge stat. So
I agree.
I see it. Diggs, I love him to death. Awesome guy. Met him a couple times in Alabama. Brother Stefan's actually really weird. Next one here.
Go ahead.
I mean,
they're both Gettysburg, Maryland guys. Exactly. It's like 20 minutes, like 10 minutes. You know, I was going to say 10 minutes down the street. It's awesome.
Yeah, they're local boys. So this one is back to that emotional battle here. And it's not just a player matchup. It is a player versus a whole city. And that is Carson Wentz versus Philadelphia. And I get it. They come to us first to in the season. But this is what really harps on for me. We have to go at Philadelphia on a Monday night primetime blacked out. This is probably going to be when they wear their black jerseys. I hope.
Yeah, I agree.
Ours.
I agree.
But this is going to be like a crazy atmosphere. Have you ever been to an Eagles game like in Philadelphia?
I went to the Vet back in the day when I was like a little kid. It's been a long time since I'd never been to Lincoln Financial or Lincoln, whatever it's called. I haven't been there yet. So I really want to go there. This might be my away game this season. Everyone's always talking about like, I want to go to like San Francisco or whatever it is, but I might go to this one and that's going to be wild. Like I have to take Tuesday off of work the next day. It's just going to be a crazy kind of game. And I'm not afraid for that smoke. I wouldn't mind going there and kind of, riling them up a little bit and get it going. It'd be a lot of fun. And that's going to be a hornet's nest. It's going to be a really intense game. And we'll see what's up, man. It'll be cool.
Who was the basketball player that was playing on the Phillies that wore Redskins jerseys a couple years back? Who was that?
I don't even remember anymore. I have no idea.
They played on the Sixers and they wore like a Sean Taylor jersey or something. He was like getting like jumped out in like this like at the parking lot. I remember the video. I forgot who it was. Y'all look it up and put it in the comment section. It's
I would love to. I want to hear that. I don't remember that anymore. I remember the image, but I don't remember the person anymore.
It's someone. They're from this area. They're from the DMV. That's all I remember. But I mean, like, if you're attacking your own basketball player, like, I don't know what it's going to be like for a Washington fan.
Dude,
like,
they don't mess around. Like, I'm sure you heard the stories. Like, the team buses would roll into Philadelphia, and the fans would be flicking off the players as they pull into the area. And I remember when I went with my friend Dan, they actually poured beer on our car while we're actually pulling into the vet. And I was like, dude, you're wasting your own beer. What are you doing right now? It's like crazy, but $20 right there. That's how they are, man. It's wild.
I've never been to Link, but I will say I have a video on my phone when I was flying to Cleveland. I actually had a stop in Philadelphia. I gave the bird a bird right back, just flying over, just a NFC East salute. But I've never been to Link. So if you go, let me know because I might go.
Yeah, we'll talk it out. It'd be cool.
But do you think it helps that Carson Wentz gets to get over that emotional part of it, them coming to us first and then going to Philadelphia?
1000%, man. I think Wentz is kind of a heady player. Like, I think He's got all the physical tools, but he's pretty emotional.
He's big, dude. He's a big dude.
He's huge. He's 6'5", man, 6'5", 240. So he's a big guy.
Yeah.
And he just towers over Heineke, by the way. But I think that
so
is a good situation. Exactly. But like, if we start off 2-0, they come into our stadium, we get up first and things start looking good. We start pounding the ball with Gibson and Robinson, like not necessarily having to rely on him. I think things would be great. And coming in, being 3-0 will definitely kind of set up our season all together. I think how Kirk Cousins had like epic meltdowns and epic failures. Unfortunately, I think that's going to be week 10 when Carson Wentz goes into Philadelphia. It just like Washington, we've both been Washington fans for years. Have we ever had a glorious like moment where we overcome an extreme thing against us? No, it's always the opposite. It's always like epic failure. Like he might twist his knee. It's gonna be like a real bad that week. And
oh god,
we'll see
I
how
gotta cut this part out.
Exactly. So we'll see how it all.
It's gonna jinx us. I mean,
I know. We'll go ahead.
I agree with you. I mean, there's no way. I think we beat them. What is it, week 3? Yeah, when they come here. Got tickets to that, by the way. Go get your tickets if you haven't already.
Yeah.
Highly recommend. Pack out FedEx. We're talking about the link, man. Pack out FedEx, finally.
Section 110. I'll be right there.
I don't care if it's Richmond, wherever it's at, Woodbridge. Just come to FedEx while it's still there, guys. But I think it does help a ton. But there's no way we beat them twice, right? I mean, they have gotten a lot better. I get it. It's still the Eagles. It's still Jalen Hurts, even though I'm high on him for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
But that defense, I mean, Slay, Bradbury, you got Jordan Davis in the middle now.
Kobe Dean, Hargrave, Fletcher Cox. They're pretty solid. They're all the way around. Hassan Reddick.
They're adding weapons. So I think that defense alone, like adding the atmosphere and the crowd to it, we're not getting out of that one.
People sleep on Reddick too. Reddick had 23 sacks over the past 2 years, man. He's actually a really good player. He's pretty versatile.
For an off-the-ball linebacker that moved to like an edge rusher guy.
100%.
That was a great signing for them.
That was a great signing for them. And I agree. I think the week 3 matchup will be a good one for us. Going down there week 10, it's like everyone's going to be hyped up. It's going to be loud. Reddick's going to get a couple sacks. Like, that's going to be wild. So we'll see what's up.
Yeah, maybe we should
pull it
out.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll see me and George locked up.
Exactly.
And then I'll definitely have to call out of work. This next one, this excites me as an Alabama fan. I was talking to my buddy about this one today. I'm like, I can't wait for this game. I can't wait for the Titans to come to FedEx Field because King Henry and John Allen will duel it out. I put John Allen because, he's the captain in the middle, but it's this entire defensive line. Yeah. But first off, I just want to say I have the best time in the world going back and just looking at Derrick Henry's stats over his career. High school when he rushed
the best ones,
12,000 rushing yards and like
nuts.
He had 55 rushing touchdowns his senior year alone. Like it's outrageous. Yulee, Florida, by the way, good little area down there. But did you know the last 3 seasons, Derrick Henry has averaged over 100 yards a game and at least 1 touchdown a game. Like he is automatic to get 100 yards and a touchdown in a game.
He was a monster, dude. So I think he played in 8 games last year, left like halfway through the 8th game. He had 990 yards and 10 touchdowns, dude. He was amazing. He's like a living juggernaut, like from the X-Men. He's just a tank. He trucks people. That's what he does. And he's a beast. Like I remember, 17-game season. I'm a good NFL story, and I was trying to chart whether he would break the NFL rushing record, and his yardage per game would have been more than Eric Dickerson over the 17 games. He would have broke the record if he kept up that pace, and he's just a monster. I'm really looking forward to seeing him live because that is a home game at FedEx, and he's going to get his, man. He's going to get a couple, he might not get 150 yards. He might get like 90 yards and a touchdown or 2. He's a beast, so it's going to be really interesting to watch him here.
Yeah, I mean, obviously as an Alabama fan, I went to 2 games at Alabama when he was there, and I will never forget. They do the Walk of Champions where it's like they let the players off, and there's like fans on both sides of like this path where it's like SEC championships, national. I mean, it's just the best part of game day, honestly. Because like Nick Saban walks off the bus and he stops like right there in the middle, and he just waits, and then all the players start getting off the bus, and they're just giant. And I'll never forget. It was Alabama, Tennessee, one of the most exciting games. Crazy ending, by the way. Should have been that close. Derrick Henry gets off the bus and he stands right in front of me, and I was like, that is hands down. There's two guys I saw in person that just were crazy. Vince Wilfork for the Patriots when we did the joint training camp like years back.
Yeah.
That dude is just a massive human being. And then Derrick Henry in college, he's even bigger now. Like he's even more cut now. But his last year at Alabama, I was like, there's no way that's the guy that's running the ball that fast on TV. Like, it is crazy what he does.
Imagine being a professional athlete. Like, there's cornerbacks that weigh like 170, 180. Like, you have to tackle that guy in the open field, man. It's not a good look. You don't want to. No one wants to do that.
Stiff arm practicing on actual teammates. Someone's
He
like,
tossed Josh Norman. Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Oh,
He's a monster, dude.
Norman. But
Yeah,
not
exactly.
so fast. We have a good defensive line. We have Jonathan Allen. We have his old teammates, Deron Payne. And then another Alabama guy with Phil Mathis coming in now. I will say our run stopping wasn't the best the last few years. I'd say in our interior, John Allen was obviously the better pass rusher. He had 9 sacks last year. Deron Payne is known as that guy who moves blocks. He fills in gaps. He's more of the run stopping guy. I'm interested to see, because I think Phil Mathis is a good balance of both. I think his pass rushing is underrated. You know, obviously Matt Ioannidis was another good run stopper. Tim Settle, a little bit of both too. I think our defensive tackle room was very well balanced the last few years. Of course, we go over these big changes. Are you at all concerned with the running defense? Not even just against Derrick Henry, because I think Derrick Henry is going to do whatever he wants against anybody.
Yeah.
But how do you feel about the run stopping defense this year, especially that interior D line?
I'm actually not too worried about it. Actually, like the Phil Mathis pick at 47, you do kind of raise your eyebrow, like, should we get more of a skilled player, like at safety or cornerback or something, or maybe even linebacker to kind of supplement and build up our team? But I think Phil Mathis is going to provide a good little, you understand why Washington made that pick. I do think he can kind of work in the rotation, but I think that also gives Jack Del Rio a workable piece to kind of implement into the line. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if, like, against Derrick Henry, against the Titans, we have more of a 5-2 set. We basically just kind of put him directly, like, over like the, zero technique or one technique, and have Payne and Allen on the sides to kind of fill it all up. That's a pretty meaty opportunity, right? I know, right? And it's like, if you, you probably follow Mathis more than I'm catching up to his film now. I'm sure you watch him in Alabama. He's a huge human being. He's just gigantic, right? And he's going to be a two-gapper. He's going to basically grab 2 linemen and kind of clog things up and have our linebackers run free. And hopefully Cole Holcomb will take a step forward, and we'll have Jamin Davis do a little bit better as well. And everyone has the potential. Like, you see the vision of with our team. They're athletic. Jamin Davis was a huge RAS guy as well. He's height, speed guy. He's a thumper getting downfield. Same thing with Cole Holcomb. So I think our run defense has potential. People just got to play sound. You got to play together. And I think it's going to be better this year. I'm sure you kind of heard it too, Josh. We talk all the time. There were whispers in that D line room where there was kind of animosity and kind of like Sam Mills going against Ioannidis. There wasn't really a lot of chemistry there. There was just like, you could tell that there was bad blood and people weren't necessarily happy with the technique.
Yeah.
They drafted Phil Mathis as the permanent captain in Alabama. And I just think him being a leader and kind of being selfless, which he's known for, is going to be a good, it's going to be a good component for the defensive line. I think they're going to be okay.
I mean, and you said it earlier today. I saw one of your tweets tonight, like with the whole John Allen, Deron Payne punch thing, like adding Phil Mathis. And when I talked to John Allen at the draft party, he said, man, he's like, Phil's like one of my brothers, man. Like,
awesome.
He said, I was just at Alabama the last weekend, like before the draft. And I told him, I'm like, man, I think we're interested in Phil Mathis. Like, he's like, I think so too.
He said that?
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's
and then
cool.
Sure enough, it happened. I just, my gut told me, I was like, it just felt like a Washington pick, getting another Alabama guy, and then all the losses on the D line. But I think, that says something, having that brotherhood. And I mean, even with Deron Payne and like the whole OTA things, walking off the field, he said he didn't, whatever. He puts up a picture of like him and John Allen on the field today. Like,
I saw that.
There's something to that, like knowing like what you have next to you, who's next to you, and just going to battle with your brother. I think there's absolutely something towards that. And like you said, like the whole maturity thing. I mean, Tim Settle wanted more playing time. Matt Ioannidis was getting paid a lot, had injury issues. Like I said, wasn't happy with the technique, wasn't happy with rotating in. And now just having Phil Mathis, who knows his role, like he's a captain, he's a leader, he's a veteran guy. We have 3 veteran guys in that interior D line alone, and then of course some depth guys as well. But I agree with you, like run stopping wise, we ran a pretty good amount of 5-2 last year. I don't think people realize how much we ran the 5-2, which is kind of what it's like. Why the heck were Tim Settle and Matt Ioannidis kind of disappointed in the snaps? I get it, they want to start. But I feel good about it as well. But this matchup wise, I think still Derrick Henry, because I still have concerns with the linebacker core and run stopping. When he gets to that second level, what does that look like? Is he stiff arming Cole Holcomb or Jamin Davis? Sadly, he might. Like, I feel
I
like
don't
Derrick
see Cole
Henry is the
Holcomb meeting him in
best.
the hole and pushing him back. I don't see that happening at all. So we'll
No.
see. Yeah.
Not at all. So maybe, we won't be completely home biased on this one. We said Carson Wentz isn't going to come out of Monday Night Football alive in Philadelphia. We'll see.
We're being
Things do
objective
change.
over here. Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
And then
We're being
Derrick
fair.
Henry is the best running back, in my opinion. Not biased at all. The Heisman winning running back, but I think he's the best running back in NFL. And it's okay to lose that matchup because he is the best. Now,
I think we'll lose the matchup. We'll win the game, though. I think we'll beat the Titans, but I digress.
Catch right there. You saved the story. Not so fast. We still win the game. I think that'll be a good one too. I want to see what the Titans look like with Tannehill. This one here, I feel like is an underrated matchup. And you said you like this one. I like this one too. Cam Curl versus Kyle Pitts. And I wanted your thoughts on this because, we've heard the words Buffalo and Moneybacker and Big Nickel, Big Dime a million times this year. But rightfully so. Like, that is what we do. And that is what the NFL does. You want to cover a tight end like Kyle Pitts, who doesn't line up in line a lot. He's lined up in the slot mostly. You have to have a guy like Cam Curl who can play that, Moneybacker Buffalo spot, who is a linebacker like Landon Collins was, but has that coverage ability. And Curl did phenomenal last year with it. So did Cleek Hudson.
Yeah.
But this matchup here, Kyle Pitts is a different breed.
So this is interesting.
What do you see about him? Yeah, give me your thoughts.
Yeah, this is interesting, man. So basically, we talked about this pre-show. I was kind of considering who I thought Kyle Pitts was going to I was like, Kyle Pitts, no question, right? Then I started digging in and doing a little bit of research, and this is a rematch from last year. Cam Curl went against Kyle Pitts. It happened before, so we have some context of the situation. And Cam Curl kind of held it down. He held it down a little bit, dude. I was kind of surprised. I thought Kyle Pitts was going to eat him up, and so Kyle Pitts had 9 targets against Washington last year. It was the second highest total in the year. The next highest total was 10 against the Jets the following week. I think it's like a week 4 matchup. Yep. And basically, as you mentioned, you nailed it. Kyle Pitts plays more in the slot. I think he had 38 snaps in the slot, and basically he went against Cam Curl, who covered him 32 times. And basically, Cam Curl held it down. He held him out of a touchdown. I don't know if you remember watching the game live, but it was the thing was, is Kyle Pitts finally going to get his first touchdown because he had so many yards and so many catches, but we kept him out of the end zone. We did a good job with that, and he only caught the ball 44% of his his attempts, and that was his second lowest of the season. So Cam Curl kind of held it down. Kyle Pitts is going to get better, so clearly you're going to maybe he's going to basically maybe thrive this time. But the one caveat is that Marcus Mariota is the quarterback now as up to Matt Ryan. So I don't think it's as lopsided as people wanted to hear for now. Yeah, we'll see. Ritter's going to be there later on. Yeah, he's over there. Well, yeah, we'll see. And then they also have Drake London basically now in Atlanta too. Are they going to start force feeding him? And who's going to play the slot in that situation? Obviously, I'm still thinking it's going to be Pitts, but I think Cam Curl's if you're going to pull a gun in my head or maybe put some money down, I'm going to basically give it to Kyle Pitts. But I'm kind of confident in Cam Curl, man. How you feeling?
I agree with you. There's a couple things to look at. Like you said, you only had 4 catches for 50 yards against us last year. Now, obviously, different story with Cordell Patterson.
Yeah,
that was like one of his best fantasy weeks.
Legend. Yeah, but go ahead.
So I agree with you. Like adding Drake London, who he's either going to line up next to him or he's going to be opposite field of him. Regardless, you hate to see it because I mean, those are 2 big body guys. You have to be physical in both of those guys. Both just athletic specimens. And then, of course, like I said, Cordell Patterson. The thing I wrote in my notes, and I'm glad you brought it up, was question at quarterback. Is it going to be Marcus Mariota, who we don't know what to expect?
Yeah.
Or is it going to be Ritter? Once again, we don't know what to expect. And, of course, things could change throughout the season by the time we play them. But, yeah, I went back and watched it, and Cam Curl held his own. Not even just against Pitts, but in that role. And I think that's why it was okay letting Landon go. Because they knew, hey, Cam played there just as much as Landon did. So did, like I said, Cleek Hudson. Percy Butler's going to be there now as well. But, man, Cam Curl's no slouch. He's one of the fan favorites for a reason. He's that 7th-round gem who is just physical, balls out, gives his all every single play. I can't remember, a play where I'm just like, man, Cam blew that play. He's consistent in what he does. He's reliable. He's getting better at, interceptions. So I like this matchup too. Maybe adding Drake London can sway, Pitts to get a couple of the catches, but still crazy that Pitts had 1,026 yards last year and 68 catches and only 1 touchdown. How does that happen?
It's crazy. I don't know, man. It's Atlanta. That's how it happened, man. It's like efficient.
Cordell Patterson fans were ecstatic because he got all the touchdowns. Like Kyle Pitts got the yards, and then Patterson just finished it off for him. So on this one, I'm leaning Curl because I don't feel good about the Falcons quarterback situation. And I've already seen Curl do it once with Matt Ryan.
I'll ride with you. That's a game I think Washington's going to take care of, I think. I want to give the advantage to Washington, give the advantage to Curl here.
That was such a crazy game last year, too. Not even like
wild game. That was an awesome game. One of my favorite games.
The Chase Young, the murder on Matt Ryan.
Jesus. Yeah, I got to take him to the ground, dude. Don't love tap him next time. You know, what's going on over there?
Just lay him out.
Lay him out.
Drag him all the way to Indy. But I feel good about any of these matchups. I mean, there's a lot of must-see ones, not even to mention with the Browns if Deshaun Watson comes here. Like, they're still pending on how long, like, if he's going to play, what's going to happen with that. But we get them towards the end of the season. Like, even if he is suspended, it's looking likely that he comes and plays against us. So there's a lot of big matchups. Don't listen to this easy schedule. There's no such thing as an easy schedule in the NFL. Oh, we know Trevor Lawrence is going to look like Peyton Manning against us, and FedEx is going to just be, oh my God, FedEx is going to be hectic if the Jaguars just look like this rejuvenated dynasty.
That'll be ridiculous. That'll be the worst case scenario. I think it's going to be fun though. I know we're kind of wrapping it up, but like, I think that like there are some really intriguing opportunities, right? Kirk Cousins coming back home for the very first time in Washington. That's going to be a lot of fun.
I want to see that in here.
Yeah, and
that's such
Jefferson
a touchy
live.
Subject with them.
Yeah, very touchy. I think Justin Jefferson live is going to be awesome to watch. I love Aaron Rodgers. I'm really happy that he's coming to watch. That's going to be cool. And you know, Chase Young kind of views himself like, you know, he's not even close to it yet, but he kind of views himself as like that tier, that potential Hall of Famer. And he always like, I want Brady. I want to see him against Aaron Rodgers. And then this is kind of a silly one, but the Texans have a really awful run defense. And I want to see Brian Robinson slam that, dude. I want to kind of see, like they had the 31st ranked rush defense last year. And I want to see Gibson and Robinson slam that. So it's going to be fun, man. Football's awesome. And that's why we're here talking about it in May.
Exactly.
Awesome.
There's still a lot of good matchups to look forward to. I can't wait for this season. Like I said, you got season tickets this year. I have tickets to the first 2 games so far. Going to add on that. Like I said, got to go to the Titans game. Got to see my boy Derrick Henry in that matchup. But George, just tell everyone why they should come to FedEx real quick. Not even just these matchups, the games. What's your experience been like there?
I mean, I'll tell you, man, people kind of talk about like the team and, you know, why do I want to go out to FedEx? It's a blast, man. If you just have the right kind of people and, you know, Josh, you're that right kind of person and other people that I met like throughout this whole experience, it's a lot of fun. It's shared fandom. And we all kind of have that, like, that tension. We've been losing for a couple of years, but we want to celebrate. We want to win. It's like the camaraderie, just talking to people. And honestly, what I love about sports is you just see all walks of life and different ages and diversity, and we're all kind of united with one thing, and it's a beautiful thing. And like people will give you a beer, people will give you a hot dog. It's like you're just here just having a good time. You're all in it together. It's the experience. So I was one of those guys where I wanted to stay at home and watch it on HD because I wanted to see the replays and all that stuff. But that's what DVR's for, man. Go out and have a good time. Go have a drink with your friends. Yeah, it's just cool, man. It's like I've never met a mean, you know, Commanders, Redskins, Washington football fan. Everyone's kind of cool. Everyone's looking out, and it's just a good time. And I'll be there. I'm in section 110. Come say what's up, and so it's a good time, man. Coming out.
Absolutely, it's a good time. I mean, the worst feeling in the world is leaving after a loss, but leaving after that Giants win primetime, that was the best time. I didn't get home until like 3 a.m. Ask Rio.
That was a blast.
It was a long night.
I had like the highest seats in the entire stadium that game, and we were like all walking down, like, you know, in protest. We were singing "Hail to the Redskins," going down the concourse all the way around. It was a lot of fun. And people high five, and it was real cool. It was a good time.
There's a lot of videos out there that Rio has of me that I'm not proud of.
But a lot of twerking, I'm sure.
For the win. Oh, that was Keith.
Yeah, exactly.
But George, let everyone know where they can follow you and your content on Twitter.
Yeah, no problem, man. First of all, thank you for having me. Josh is awesome, man. You're like a brother. When I talk to you, just very easy, very natural. Had a good time today, so thank you for having me. My name is George Carmi. You can find me at gcarmi21. My other handle is at FPC_Commanders. I'm the editor for Full Press Coverage Commanders on the articles and on my podcast. Definitely check us out. This Sunday, I have a really cool concept with me and the NFC East coordinator from Full Press Commanders Giants. Full Press Coverage Giants. We're basically going to have a NFC East snake draft and basically pick 2 super teams of all the NFC East. It's going to be kind of cool. We're doing that live Sunday at 1:00. So check that out.
I saw someone do that with the AFC North and the NFC North, like create super teams.
Okay.
And it was crazy. So like, I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to watch that, man. That's cool. It was fun with the AFC North and NFC North. I was like, man, Aaron Rodgers, and they were talking about like Joe Burrow and like Deshaun Watson. So it was a good time. But guys, I appreciate it. Like I said, hit that subscribe button, get me over to 1K, and check out. I'll be at OTAs on Tuesday. So if you have any questions, things you want me to look out for, drop them in the comments. And I'm actually going to be doing a mailbag episode on Sunday, June 5th, live at 7 p.m. Y'all have already started bringing in some questions for that. So drop those as well. Hit me up on Twitter at Josh Taylor FB, like football, and I'll get to those. But guys, it's been a great episode on Taking Command with Josh Taylor. See y'all next time.
Peace.